Leaders and entrepreneurs should focus their time on building systems to scale and grow their businesses, not on completing tasks day in and day out. Welcome back to another episode of the Elite Business Advice podcast. My name is Chris Moore, the founder of Elite Business Advisors, your host for the podcast. So how do you build marketing systems into your business? We briefly touched on this on a previous episode, probably 4 to 6 weeks ago. And I've had so many people reach out since then, talk to me about it at some of the events with the Sherwin events and our retreat last week. That I was like, you know what? I just want to do a whole episode on this and focus in on it because the feedback I got tells me this is what people need and want, right? I always love to try to get feedback from people, hear what they're talking about. Oh man, this episode was super impactful. Or, hey, I picked up this nugget and realized, okay, got to give people what they want, right? So let me be clear on what this is not. A marketing system is not just dumping money into Facebook ads and hoping you get a return. It's not just dumping money into Google and hoping it works out. To be truthful, anyone with a credit card and half a brain can do that. I don't mean that in the wrong way, but it's not to say that these things can't be a bigger part of your bigger picture marketing system. I'm actually going to share kind of how that integrates and where that plays a role in it. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do this at certain stages, but unfortunately, what we see, and this is across the home service industry as a whole, but especially in the painting industry, many contractors think that just spending thousands of dollars on management fees and ads is like the only marketing system they need, right? If I'm just doing that, I'm getting this abundance of leads, life is good and all my problems are solved. Not always the case. So we see it affecting your set rate, we see it affecting your close rate. It's like a whole thing, and it's a piece of it, but it's not the only thing. Nobody would encourage you to build a marketing plan and you have one strategy that you just execute. You don't ever want all your eggs in one basket. We've seen that as things on social media can dip here and there. So I promise I'm going to bring this one home. Promise I'm going to give you some actionable items to leave with, to implement, and how I'm going to kind of break this down into 3 sections of building a marketing system for your business. So I hope it helps. Thanks for plugging in and supporting us. This is the Elite Business Advice podcast. Have you ever heard the saying, leaders and entrepreneurs focus their time on building systems to scale, not on completing tasks? Let me say that again. I want to really emphasize this point. Leaders and entrepreneurs should focus their time on building systems to scale and grow their businesses, not on completing tasks day in and day out. I hope that set in. I know we've talked a lot about mindset lately, and I think there's been some intentionality behind it. I think there's a lot of intentionality in how we put the content for our retreat together. In the sense of what we found is, if you don't have the right mindset, you don't have the right beliefs, you don't have the right views, we're limiting ourselves. We have the head trash, as my good friend Nick always says. We're never going to get ahead in business. And so I want to keep this top of mind, and I don't want to keep this top of mind in a negative light for people. If you have 2 painters, you are happy in your business, you love what you do, you love the time that you're putting into it, and you love the money you're getting out of it, then keep crushing it. Okay. I don't mean for this to be in a negative thing for people, but what I want people to understand is the one thing that holds them back is their own mindset. And a lot of times it's their mindset and the ability to think bigger about their business. I feel like I've said that almost every week for the last couple of months, but we see this repeatable pattern. We see this right now during busy season. We talked about it a lot at the retreat this year. If you can't get past yourself and the way that you're thinking about your business, the lens you're filtering your business through, you can have the best marketing systems in the world, but if you can't get past that and think differently, it may not matter for you. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that hits. But leaders understand, again, building systems, not just completing tasks, but also the power and value of delegation and automation, which is going to be key in what we're going to talk about here today. And so I wanted to take a minute and kind of get our mindset right for this episode, because it's easy for us to get caught up in the day-to-day. I need to do tasks. And sometimes we're in that season of business. We just have to do it. I'm in and out of that season throughout the year in our business sometimes. I get it. but I'm trying to focus my time more on building the systems, building our culture, building our people, building the things our clients need, like the things that are going to produce more long-term fruit, not did I make this social media post? That's why we've had Jeff's team handling our social content for almost 2 years now. Because I realized at some point, like I didn't need to focus on that. I needed to build bigger systems in our business. So what is a marketing system? A marketing system to me, this isn't a Google definition. I also feel like I've done that every week. A marketing system to me is a consistent form of action that occurs at repeatable intervals of time or triggers when an event occurs. So I'm going to break this episode down into 3 sections here. Number 1, repeatable time intervals, actions that occur at repeatable times in your calendar, on your to-do list, or better yet, on somebody else's calendar and to-do list that happens and occurs like clockwork. Doesn't miss a beat. Just consistent every week, every month, every quarter, XYZ happens. Okay. Second one is going to be background systems. This is where I am going to bring in some of the Google and the Facebook ad stuff I mentioned in the intro. Because again, there is a time and a place for it. It's just not the only time and place, only thing for time and place. Either way. Apparently I need more coffee. And then the third one I want to talk about is trigger events. These are things that when X happens, Y happens. And I'll share what I mean by that. So the repeatable time intervals, let's focus there first. These are things, again, that should be on somebody's calendar, somebody's to-do list that happen at a certain specified intentional interval. So here's an easy one. Posting social media content organically. And I say organically because I say that in the sense of that, not Facebook ads. Posting it on your pages, your accounts, your TikTok, your Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. That should be happening at least 3 to 5 times a week. 3 to 5 times a week, your business should be posting on social media. Yes, you should vary it with different mediums, right? You have your videos, have some graphics, maybe create a carousel of like, here's the top 5, popular colors of the summer. You should have pictures, some with people, some without. Mix it up. But regardless, you should be posting 3 to 5 times a week. If you or somebody on your team, whoever's responsible and accountable for your social posting, if you are not doing this, I'm going to guess it's because it's not in your calendar. It's not on your to-do list. It's not in front of your face that this needs done Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever days that you decide to be posting. And again, with scheduling stuff, you can sit down on Monday and knock out all your posts for the week. I will say this. There's not enough research about this. And I got something else I want to share that there's kind of some talk about. Jeff and I had a good conversation at the Cardinals game when he was here for the retreat. But I believe personally, and this is a personal belief, but I'm seeing some stuff and there's just not enough like research and data behind it, arguably because they probably don't want it to come out, that if you schedule posts, I feel like, I'm going with feelings here, not data. I feel like you're not getting as much interaction engagement as when you just get on and post something right then and there. So for me personally, I would suggest you have somebody that can do it. Even if you have everything lined up, have the video created, have the caption ready to go. All you got to do, hop on Instagram, paste it on a Thursday morning, done. That's just my feelings. I don't have a lot of data behind that. The other thing that we were talking about is, are the algorithms starting to pick up on the overly produced content versus more raw and real footage? It's another conversation Jeff and I've sort of having, and they're trying to dive into and find a little bit more is kind of, again, trying to notice some trends here of like, oh, and it's more raw and like real footage versus a lot of extra stuff. We notice we're getting more engagement, right? So there's a couple of things out there that are trying to get we're trying to get a good handle on to communicate with you guys. If I get updates, I'll let you know. But have a schedule of organic social content. Have somebody that's accountable for it. Have a plan in place. Use ChatGPT for the love of God if you need help. Another thing, an email to your previous database. We talk a lot about monthly value add emails to your previous database. I know when Nick did his marketing master's class at the retreat, he talked a lot about how they handle their previous database emails, and they're a little bit more like once a week, and a little, I don't want to say less value add, but a little bit more focused on trying to get results. Talked to Michelle about it afterwards, and I was like, hey, maybe for the clients we're doing this for, we need to find a little bit of a better balance between the two, right? And kind of brainstorm some ideas. But either way, at what interval Do you have an email going out to touch base with your entire previous database of happy, satisfied clients that already know, like, and trust you? At minimum once a month. I would say no more than once a week. Find a happy medium in there. Give them some value. Don't make it a newsletter. Don't make it 100% always sales like everything else they get spammed with. Find a good happy medium. Networking meetings. There should be a frequency in which you are plugged in or somebody from your team is plugged in to local networking groups, whether it's BNI, whether it's Chamber of Commerce, whether it's spin-off BNI groups, whatever it is. There should be a frequency that once a week this happens, once a month this happens, twice a month this happens, whatever it is. Frequency. Plug into it, keep it in your calendar, stay consistent with it. Another thing, how often do you, or again, your team, are you guys having one-on-ones with key relationships and influences? When I had my painting company, I had a goal that at minimum once a week, I had coffee, lunch, drinks, something with somebody that was a great influence for us in the marketing realm. Typically real estate agents, interior designers, other contractors. Those are my big three. Talk about that a lot. When you're at these networking meetings, those are the ones that can provide you really good ongoing streams of leads, which is a whole system in and of itself, building relationships. Right. So I wanted to make sure, again, you can't just say, oh yeah, I want to build better relationships. That is a marketing system to have in place. Kind of is a little bit of a background system more so. But for me, I turned it into a time interval system that said, hey, I want to make sure that once a week I have in my calendar a coffee, a lunch, grabbing drinks, something with somebody that I'm trying to build a relationship with, or that I have a great relationship with to maintain it. And again, that conversation turns personal. We talk a little bit business. Fantastic. Hey, thanks for the referral to Mr. Jones. He was amazing. If it was a contractor, hey, what you guys did there was awesome. It was really cool to come in after you guys and do X, Y, and Z, whatever. But making sure that, and I would say 1 to 3 times a week, depending on how much time you have, depending on how aggressively you're trying to network, like have, again, a one-on-one 1 to 3 times per week built into your calendar and make it repeatable and make sure it happens. That's the key. Another thing that can be on a repeatable time interval is doing postcards, EDDMs, that sort of stuff, if you're at the level that it makes sense to do that at. This should be something that you, again, have a cadence for, that every blank we send out blank. Every week we send out 1,000 postcards. Every 2 weeks we send out whatever that's going to be. This is how you build a marketing plan. This is how you build a system. And again, somebody has to be accountable. That's the key to everything we're talking about here. And if it's all you need to have a way to hold yourself accountable, whether it's through having a mentor or a coach like us, whether it's through another friend in the industry, whether you have a way to track this, am I doing this? And you can look back at it and ensure it's being done. Whatever it is, somebody needs to be accountable, whether it's you, whether it's somebody on your team, and then that needs to be followed up with on a weekly basis to ensure, hey, you're responsible for 3 social postings a week. On our Monday meeting every week, we're going to review, did we get 3 in? And if we didn't, we need to talk about time management and delegation and organization, all the other stuff. Background systems. I'm going to blaze through these pretty quickly. Google local service ads. Great system to have running for you kind of behind the scenes. It requires you to answer the phone and do all the other stuff, but you don't really have to do a lot, right? There's not a lot of action involved with it. Website and SEO can be another thing. Google ads and Facebook ads, right? There's not a lot of action here, but again, it's all part of the piece of having the system in place to provide the ongoing leads, right? So these are good. And again, where people run to these is, well, I don't have time to do any of the other stuff, Chris, or they don't think about delegating or anything else. And they just go straight to dumping money in here. This is by far the most expensive out of everything I'm going to talk about on here. So again, time and place, start with 1 or 2, but it's good to have these background systems running as well. And then the last category, trigger events. This is one of my favorite ones. This is also one of the hardest ones to do because sometimes putting stuff in your calendar is great. It's easy to do, right? You can put on your to-do list, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do blank. It's harder to remember that every time X happens, I need to do Y. There's another level of systems required behind that, typically in a workflow, in your CRM, something, again, somebody's got to be accountable for it. So a couple examples here. Number 1, every job that you do gets 150 door hangers out on the 150 homes around that project with a spot on it that says we're currently working at blank, address label for the address, handwrite it in, whatever you got to do. 150 door hangers go out while that job's in process. So again, there needs to be some forethought. Somebody has to be responsible for this, whether it's a project coordinator, whether it's project manager, whether the project manager is the one putting them out, probably not the best use of time, but maybe it's their responsibility to oversee the high school intern or the college intern that's going out and actually putting them out. But again, there becomes a little bit more complexities in these trigger events, but it's still something that when you, again, like clockwork, every time we do a job, we do this. Every time we do a job, we do this. You just have to figure out what is your internal system to be prepared, to have the hangers ready, and then to make sure that it's happening and going out. Because everybody has good intentions. Not everybody's good at execution. Keep that in mind. Another thing, after every project's completed and paid, a thank you card goes out. If you have an office admin, this is an easy thing to task them with. Depending on what CRM you are using, you can have a workflow set up to where every time a job gets marked, invoice gets marked as paid, it triggers an activity on a to-do list to send a thank you card. This is some easy ways we can use automation. I'm really excited. I've got a test set up to beta test Paint Scout's new CRM, FYI. That will happen by the time this comes out, but I'm super stoked to see what that looks like. But have a thank you card go out. Again, has to be something that's going to trigger every time this happens. This needs to go out, whether it's a simple checklist in your job costing, whatever that is. Another thing, this could be optional for some of you guys, but doing a 6-month or 1-year follow-up via email. A phone call could be great. I love the customer service touch to it, but even if it's just an email, again, this can be automated into a workflow that, hey, once an invoice gets marked paid or job moves to completed in the pipeline, it triggers an activity 6 months from now to go in and send them an email, maybe even to the extent you can trigger that email to send 6 months later, however you want to handle that. And this is where you can leverage some technology just to make life easier, that when X happens, it at least shows up on somebody's to-do list at some interval later on. But I love that. Hey, can't believe it's already been a year since we were, doing your cabinets at your house. We hope everything's going great with them. If you guys need anything else, let us know. Just something simple like that. And again, these are kind of bigger picture, longer term things. But again, staying top of mind with people is key. Here's another one I know some people have done. Every estimate, the estimator puts out 10 "We were in your neighborhood doing estimates today" flyers on houses around that estimate after they're done with it. So estimate goes well, they got 10, 15 minutes. You go grab 10, flyers, and they do, I always hear different numbers thrown here, right? 3 to the right, 3 to the left, and I guess it'd be 6 across the street, whatever. I get 10-ish flyers out right around the house you were on. To just say, hey, we were in your neighborhood doing estimates. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you, right? Just little things like that. Every time estimate happens, this happens. That's what I want you to think about. Think through everything in your business. Think through when you hear creative marketing strategies, when you hear different things. How can we put this into a system that when X happens, Y happens? Or putting it into a repeatable time interval. You can continue to add things here to these lists. But again, the goal of what we're trying to achieve and consistent marketing efforts, which will propel you through the year, through the slower season, start this now. But the goal is to make sure all of these things, time intervals, the triggers, the background systems are firing on all cylinders all the time for you. We don't take a day off. We don't take a week off. And if they're not firing on all cylinders, figure out how to automate, delegate these things to somebody, or maybe even for you, it's just manage your time better to ensure it's getting done. I hope you enjoyed that episode and were able to take away a few nuggets to implement into your business. If you loved this episode, please leave us a rating and a review. It helps others on the platform find our podcast, and it could be the best blessing that's ever happened to them thanks to you. We at Elite Business Advisors are a huge supporter of the PCA, the Painting Contractors Association. If you're not familiar with the PCA and all of the benefits of membership, I highly recommend you check it out at www.painted.org. That's PAINTED.org. It looks like painted. And last but not least, if you're looking for an outsider's perspective as you navigate growth, schedule a free business analysis meeting with us at www.elitebusinessadvisors.com. We work with painting contractors all over North America to help them treat their business like a business. Our entire team of advisors all have experience in owning and running a painting company, so you aren't just getting a team that is teaching off of theory, but tried and true application of principles and systems. Thanks so much for listening in today. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you back next week.